I feel like I should have read this years ago. Netflix TV show that's gonna come in April. We get an inside look of North Korea. With each installment, the story gets better. So in today's video, I'll be talking about all the books that I read in 2020. I set a target of 30 books and I finished 32 books, so I'm really proud. Granted, some of the books are graphic novels, so they take way lesser time to finish than a regular novel, but Goodreads count those as one book, so I'm gonna do that too. For ease of the video, I have divided these books into categories, and the category I'm gonna start with is short stories collection. The first book in this category is The Stories of Us by Bobby Sachdeva. It is a collection of 41 short stories with mainly Indian-centric characters, and the stories cover topics like GST, demonetization, old age, LGBTQ community, and etc. I'm not going to say that every single story is amazing, but there are a few really good ones. None of the stories have anything too graphic, so it can be read by anybody in any age. So I think it can be a very good gift for somebody really young or really old too. And at the end of each story, the author leaves you with a question so that you can ponder over them by yourself and see where your thoughts lie. I'm gonna give this book a 3.5 stars out of 5. Also, by the way, the writing is really simple. Very short stories, may take like 10 to 15 minutes maximum to finish each story, some of them even lesser than that. So yeah, it's a good book for somebody really young too. Next in this category, I read 51 lesser known tales from the Mahabharata by Sarath Komaraju. I hope I'm not saying the name wrong. I read book 1 of a series called the Mahabharata The Companion. Now, if you are a mythology buff, you may not like this book or need this book, but I did not know a lot of the side stories, so I found few of them really interesting. It's a funny book actually. There was one particular story about Lord Shiva. I found that so freaking hilarious, and just for that story I'm going to increase my rating of this book by 0.5% at least, and I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Moving on to the next category, standalones. The first book in this category I'm going to talk about is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. This book deals with depression and anxiety. It follows two main characters, Violet Markey and Theodore Finch. Violet is grieving the death of her sister, and Finch has suicidal tendencies and anxiety. In the beginning of the book, the two of them meet on the ledge of a tower in the school. At the moment, even they don't know who saves whom that day. And from there, their friendship grows and they try to save each other. But will they be able to? I think you have to read the book to find out, otherwise it's gonna be a spoiler. I think it's a beautifully written book. There are a lot of powerful moments and good conversations. It's a great YA novel. I'm gonna give this a 4.5 stars out of 5. The next standalone on the list is The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins. I love the plot of the book. It's a mystery/thriller. As I was reading it, I was constantly trying to guess who the actual killer is, but I definitely had my issues reading this book. I did not like the main character. I mean, the main character is flawed and it's fine. She is an unreliable narrator, which is also completely fine. They're actually quite enjoyable to read in books, but I in general did not like the personality of the main character, so it was really hard for me to follow her throughout the book. She was very self-centered and always in a constant state of self-pity, which are also normal traits, but I'm just saying that it was difficult for me to finish that book fast and I had to take a lot of breaks. I'm gonna give this one a 3.5 stars. I love the writing of the author and I love the plot of the story. I think it's definitely worth reading. The next book on my list is by an Indian author. It's called The Zoya Factor by Anuja Chauhan. There's also a movie by the same name and it's an adaptation of this book. It's a rom-com. It's not a complex story. It's a fun little read where the characters sometimes act stupid, but I think it's to make the book more entertaining, so I don't have any problem with that. It's a story of a girl named Zoya who was born when the Indian cricket team won the World Cup in 1983, and everybody around her believes her to be a lucky charm when it comes to cricket, and it so happens that because of a job she gets to meet the current Indian cricket team, and people find out about her luck factor. Soon she ends up being kind of like a mascot for the team, and the public goes crazy. She almost is treated like the god because cricket is of course a huge thing in India, and life gets messy and funny. There is also a cute little love story going on with the captain of the cricket team. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Okay, the next 3 standalones on my list are classics. The first classic that I read this year is Around the World in 80 Days. It's what the book's name suggests. There is our main character who places a bet with his friends that he can travel the world and back in 80 days, and that's what he does. Our main character, Mr. Fogg, sets off on a journey with his valet, Passepartout. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it wrong. They set off on a journey to travel around the world. I actually was not so satisfied with the main character. I did not care about him at all because his character was not fleshed out enough for my liking. However, I did really like the Passepartout's parts or scenes. I'm gonna give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. The next classic that I read is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. I actually loved it more than I was expecting to like it going in. I did more than 50% of the book along with the audiobook, and that was such an amazing decision. The voice artists, they did the accents and everything, it just transported me to that era. I just loved the whole experience of reading this book, and I love how headstrong the lead character Elizabeth Bennet is in the story, especially for the era. So I'm definitely going to recommend it, and this book has made me want to read more of Jane Austen's work. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Also, by the way, I vlogged the day I read this book, so if you want to check that out, I'm going to link that video down below. Anyways, the final classic that I read in 2020 is 1984 by George Orwell. I don't know why it took me so long to read this book. I feel like I should have read this years ago, though not when I'm really little, because some of the thoughts and things in the book are really graphic, which my little head may not have been able to grasp or take. This book was definitely very thought-provoking and daunting. I would have given this book a 5 star had I read it halfway through, but I was not super satisfied with the ending, though I get why the author gave it the ending that it got. Just because of the ending, which is not bad, I'm not gonna say it's bad, but it's not something that I was very satisfied with. So because of that, I'm gonna give this a 4 out of 5 star instead of a 5 star. I talked about this book in details in the vlog, in the reading vlog, so if you wanna check that out, again, down below. The next category is series. So I'm gonna talk about all the books that are part of a series. Then, last but not the least, I'm gonna move on to the graphic novels. The first series that I read in 2020, the Shadow and Bones trilogy. There is also a Netflix TV show that's gonna come in April of 2021, I believe. It's by Leigh Bardugo. I read all the 3 books this year. It is a fantasy series that follows a girl named Alina Starkov, and because of some incident, she accidentally displaced some dormant power, magical power, to save her best friend's life. Her best friend's also kind of like her love interest. Because of her newfound magical power, she is taken to the royal court to train as Grisha. Grisha is basically somebody with magical powers. It's part of a Grisha verse, which is a fantasy world created by this author. It's a fun read. I definitely kind of binged the whole series. This series is not one of my favorite fantasy series, but I would definitely recommend it. Overall, I think I'm going to give this a 3.5 stars. Okay, the next series is the Red Queen series. It has 4 books. I actually reread the first 3 books in the form of audiobook because I kind of vaguely remembered them but not well, and I wanted to start the 4th and the final book. Now, there are a lot of mixed reviews about this series on the internet. Some people hate it and some people love it. I'm more on the love it side. To be honest, I did not like the first book, but I decided to continue reading it and really started getting into the series from the second. I think the series has a lot of great internal monologues and some great lines just thrown here and there all over the book. I understand how those lines and stuff may sound a little cheesy to some people. I personally really enjoyed them. Yeah, I'm gonna give this series a 3.5 star overall. The next books are from a series called the Shadow Me series by Tahira Mafi. I read the first and the 1.5 book, which is basically the novella. There was a time when this series was super hyped, so I picked it up, but I was kind of disappointed by this series. Maybe it gets better later on. I don't know if I'm gonna continue reading it until unless somebody tells me that it will get better. It basically follows a girl named Juliet who has a disease which is basically if she touches anybody, the person dies. And there are a lot of things happening in the rest of the world too. Diseases have killed a lot of the people. And in the beginning of the book, our main character Juliet, we see her in a cell. But one fine day, she is taken out of there by this organization who basically controls everything, called the Re-establishment, because they decide that she is way more useful working with them than inside a cell. The plot sounds nice, but I did not enjoy it so much. There is also a love story there which has a little bit more focus than it needs to for the plot, I think. I'm gonna give this one a 2.5 star. Up next, I reread the first two books of the Mortal Instrument series by Cassandra Clare. I have read this series quite a number of times. The first time I read this book, I was really young, and so I go back to it whenever I'm in the mood for some nostalgia, and that is the reason I think I love this more. I love the characters. I feel so attached to the characters in this book. The series follows a bunch of teenagers who fight demons. It sounds cool. The really young me loved it from her core. I'm gonna give this book a 3.5 star. Okay, no. Let me bump it up to 4 star just for nostalgia, if nothing else. Okay, next I read the first book of the Artemis Fowl series. It is a middle grade series. I really enjoyed it. It hardly took me any time to finish. It was really fascinating to read, and I'm definitely going to read more from this series when I'm in the mood for some middle grade. This series follows a guy named Artemis Fowl. He's an 11-year-old kid, I think, in the first book, and I have to add, he's an 11-year-old criminal mastermind. And there is this whole other world with high-tech fae technology, and with pixies and dwarfs and giants and centaurs, etc, etc. It was an interesting read, and I'm gonna give this one a 4 star out of 5. Next on my list is the third installment in this book series, Daughters of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor. This one is called Dreams of Gods and Monsters. I really love the first two books. It's a fantasy love story, but this book did not do it for me. I did not like it. First and second parts, I finished them really fast and I could not put them down, but it took me a really long time to finish the third part. I really like the author's writing. She has a very unique style of writing, and that is the only reason I think I could finish this book. Otherwise, I was not interested in it at all. I think the author, Laini Taylor, she does dialogues and conversations really well. Even though I did not like the third installment, I'm gonna still recommend this book series because some of the conversations are really funny and, you know, they felt like real conversations. I'm gonna give this series a 3.5 star, and this third installment, I'm gonna give this a 2.5. The last series on my list is called The 9 Lives of Chloe King. It's a trilogy. I read all the 3 books back to back. I actually picked this up after I stumbled upon the series by the same name. There's just one season and the show was cancelled, I think, after that. And season 1 ends in a cliffhanger, so I wanted to know what happens next. So I picked the books up, but it was useless. The story in the TV show has been changed a lot and it's been made better. I did not like the book series at all. Nothing much happens in it in the whole of 3 books. This series follows a girl, a teenage girl, Chloe King. One day she accidentally dies and comes back to life. Ever since, she starts developing these supernatural powers like heightened speed and sight and hearing. She kind of starts living a double life after that. I did not enjoy this so much. I think the series is targeted towards early teens, but still, there are a lot better early teen novels, I think. I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5 stars. Now let's move on to the final category, which is his graphic novels. The first graphic novel that I read in 2020 is called Seconds by Brian O'Malley. He's also the writer and illustrator of the famous Scott Pilgrim series. In Seconds, we follow a girl named Katie. She is a young chef and she runs a successful restaurant and is also in the process of starting her very own restaurant. But then things start going wrong in her life, and that's when she finds these magic mushrooms, and each of these mushrooms gives her the ability to change one day. She of course uses them a lot and her life gets back on track, or do they? I really like this one. I'm gonna give this a 4 star. The next graphic novel that I read is called Pyongyang, A Journey in North Korea. It's written by Guy DeLisle. This is basically a graphic journal of a cartoonist from when he had to stay in North Korea, in the capital of North Korea, for a few months for a project, and he documents his stay there in the form of this graphic novel. So this book is really funny and we get an inside look of North Korea. I really enjoyed it, and it's scary how a lot of things are very similar to 1984 in North Korea, and he even mentions it in the book. I definitely recommend this book. It's a graphic novel that hardly takes any time to read. I'm gonna give this one a 4 star. And the last 6 books on my list are the first 6 books of a graphic novel series called The Amulet. It's a fantasy series. I'm really enjoying it, and with each installment the story gets better. I think not a lot happens in one installment of this series. Together the story comes out so well. This is definitely a series that I'm gonna recommend. I'm gonna give this one a 4.5 stars. And those are all the 32 books that I read in 2020. If you have any book recommendations, please leave them in the comment section below. I'd love to get more recommendations and make more bookish videos. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day ahead, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.